what are some things that we can do to set ourselves up on the right path when it comes to nutrition and losing weight?
So one of the biggest things that I talk to clients about is figuring out your way, right? We hear this so many times, like, you just got to figure out what works best for you. And that's where clients come to me and they're like, I don't know. Like, tell me what works for me. I feel like I've tried everything. I've done paleo, I've done keto, I've done intermittent fasting. I don't know what is best for me. So you tell me what is best for me. And so what I'll simply just give them a couple different tips, and I'll tell them how you know you found your way is if what you're doing can fit these three criteria. Number one is, can you see yourself doing this 5 years from now? So often we pick plans that are super restrictive. They feel ultra punishing because we think that's the only way we're going to be successful. And I have to remind them that nutrition is a long game. It's not a sprint. So many of us think, I'm going to do something really, really hard and I'm going to lose all the weight and then I'll be able to eat whatever I want because then I'll be in maintenance. And I have to teach people that there is no weight loss plan and a separate maintenance plan. In our head, that's what we think it's supposed to be like because that's what we've been taught. But that's not actually true. Whatever gets you there keeps you there. So you have to make sure that if you want long-term results, you can see yourself doing these things over and over and over again. If you're not willing to make these changes 5 years from now because it feels too restrictive or it's not even possible for you to sustain it, then you're not going to be able to maintain the loss. And most of us, when we go into weight loss, we're not thinking, oh, I want to lose weight for just 3 months and then I'll gain it all back. We want to lose weight and keep it off and never have to worry about it again. If that is your goal, then we want to make sure that whatever you're doing to lose the weight is what you're going to be able to do to maintain that weight loss. Asking yourself, am I willing to do the same thing 5 years from now, is really, really important because it'll show you, yeah, I can see myself doing this. Then you know you're on the way to finding your path. So that's number one. Number two is, do you like it? We kind of forget about this piece because I'm willing to do whatever it takes. But if we hate something, if we literally hate the foods we're eating, we're miserable all the time, we're starving, we're just nasty people because we're so hungry all the time because we're super restrictive, we're not going to stick with it. It goes back to number one. If you can't stick with it, then you don't have your plan. I really think it's important to like what you're doing because the quickest way to quit something is to do something you hate. And again, nutrition is a long game. So if you want the results, you have to consistently show up for yourself. How you stay motivated is by doing something you enjoy because then you don't mind showing up. But if you hate it, dread it, loathe it, you're going to look for every opportunity to quit. Usually motivation runs out by day 3 or 4. And so we're not even getting through the first week of our resolutions before we're giving up. Part of my job is to teach people how to be motivated, right? They come to me for motivation. Well, in my practice, I take health insurance. So health insurance dictates how many times they get to see me. For some people, it's unlimited. For some people, it's 3 visits a year or 6 visits a year, 10 visits, depending on their plan. If the only time they're going to be motivated is when they see me, that's a lot of pressure because I don't know if I'm going to see them for the next week or two, right? Depending on how often they're coming. So I have to teach them how to motivate themselves so they can continue to show up for themselves every day. And part of that process is figuring out a plan that you actually enjoy and that you want to show up for versus only being motivated 3 or 4 times a year when I get to talk to my dietitian. Right. It doesn't work that way. The third piece, which is super important, is it working? You may be able to see yourself doing something 5 years from now. You may like what you're doing, but if it's not getting you results, then we have to pivot.